Investing is an interesting topic, but a lot of people are afraid to get into investing because, they don't understand what it is. And they also know that there is some risk involved in investing. And many of us are rather insecure about money as it is, right? And so we want to kind of hold on to it, uh, in fear that we might lose it to something that, we probably shouldn't have put our money into. And I get that. But the famous investor, Warren Buffett, once said that if you don't learn how to invest in it, if you don't invest, chances are you're going to be working for the remainder of your life, or you're going to work until you die. And I know many of us don't want to work until we die. And so there is an easier way to get into investing without a whole lot of risk. Keeping in mind there's risk in everything we do. There's risk in driving. There's risk even in walking. You took a whole lot of risk when you rode your bike as a little kid without your helmet. So there's risk in everything that we do. So kind of keep that in mind. Also, many of us kind of put our money into, let's say 401ks and annuities and that kind of thing, which is a very good idea, by the way, because, in the end, you will do well. But if you're like me, you want to have more control of your money. You want to understand how money works. And so you might want to study up on it and figure out, well, how can I invest on my own where I don't need middlemen, where I don't need advisors or people to tell me where I could park my money? People who know more about my money than I do. No, I don't want that. I want to know more about my money than someone else does. And that's why I took it upon myself to invest, keeping in mind that I'm not an advisor and I'm not giving advice. I'm just kind of letting you know my own personal journey as it relates to investing. And I didn't want advisors anyway. And I'm pretty much doing pretty well without advisors. Again, I'm only telling you what I've done. And I think one of the things that I did in the beginning was to make sure I had a big bank to be connected to. A lot of people don't realize how important it is to be banked, right? To be connected to a really big bank like Bank of America, Chase, US Bank, those types of banks. Because if you're connected to a bank, it's a whole lot easier for a brokerage for you to connect that bank, your bank, to a brokerage like Vanguard or Charles Schwab or Fidelity. And again, I recommend using big companies. Don't use small companies because big companies are full service companies. Use a big full service bank to get connected to, and then connect that to a big full service brokerage. Again, like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. And they will walk you through the process. They will ask you what bank you're banked with, and then they'll set up the account which it will connect to your bank, in which you can make your investments that way. And you're probably asking, okay, now that I'm connected to my big bank along with my brokerage, what should I invest in? And for me, I think the best thing for a beginning investor to do is invest in the whole stock market, buy the whole thing. You can buy ETFs, or you could just buy like a nice mutual fund. You could just start that off with that. And those big companies, those big brokerages will let you know which mutual funds you can invest in. And they're pretty reputable, and they'll give you some really good advice. And so, I would say start off with a nice mutual fund or ETFs. ETFs are cheaper to buy. They're essentially the same thing as a mutual fund, but they come in a cheaper package, and then some of the ones that I like SCHD, SCHB, SPLG. I love VU and I love VTI. All right. And so those are the big names as it relates to investing in ETFs. And they're kind of like the safer way because they either invest in the S&P 500 or the entire stock market, the entire world of stocks. All right. And so we kind of live in a capitalistic society. And so it is incumbent upon all of us to kind of learn how money works and how to invest and how to, let's say, live a more dignified life. Like for me, as I invest, I'm not really trying to get rich. I just want to, have a life that's dignified in my old age because I'm getting up there and I'm approaching retirement. And my main goal is to just have a nice, simple, dignified life. And that's another thing when it comes to investing. You also invest in your life. So if you're like a 20-year-old person, 18, 20, 25 in your 20s or so, keep this in mind. Start investing right now. You should have invested yesterday. Start investing right now and also invest in living a simple life. Believe me, a simple life will pay off for you because conservative investors win. I know conservatism has a bad name, but conservatism just means living a certain type of life, a life that is simple, manageable. And here's another thing. When you're living in the United States, it's very easy for you to suddenly find yourself in a complicated life. And in fact, living a simple life is kind of an art form. And I recommend that you develop ways to live a simple life, good habits, and those kinds of things, because good habits, exercising, eating right, and next thing you know, by the time you're 50, you'll be living a good life if you invest. And keep in mind that some of you are probably right now saying, like you're thinking, okay, I'm 25, 50, that's way in the future. No, it's not. It's a blink of an eye. I easily remember when I'm 20, when I was 20 years old, okay? So don't worry about that. If you live right, live conservatively, live it simple, you will have a good life just as long as you invest. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to park it right here. I'll stop, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.